This summer already is really hot, and Wargaming tries to turn up the heat even more with its to this date of 2026 biggest update yet, aka update 2.4 called Overdrive. And they dropped an 8-minute video and I've dissected it just for you so we can talk about all of these new information and give you some more even. So, without further ado, I believe it's a good idea to start with their first big announcement, being they actually added new VFX and SFX, which is, in my opinion, fantastic.
Start with the most noticeable part. Bigger and juicier shots. More spectacular hits. And most importantly, each shell's interaction with armor become far more informative.
That's, well, doesn't really need to, because technically speaking, you have down below the information you will need all the time, because it kind of tells you what you got shot at. I also think that these, how should I say, except for the heat one, the glowing effects are a little bit too long there, I believe. But I have to say it looks cool, and the sounds are really cool as well.
All this allows the battlefield to speak the language of gameplay and lets you read the situation instantly.
Obviously, there's a lot of fluff yapping, which doesn't make sense. Like me.
Sounds play an equally important role here. Shots will ring out like you've never heard them before.
I do like some good bass when a shot is being fired.
On open terrain, in dense urban areas, or deep inside tunnels.
So it looks like we are going to have proper 3D sound.
The new effects and sounds will help you navigate confidently in the heat of combat. This could seriously influence the course of battle.
They are saying that this could influence the course of battle. First I was thinking, yeah, you know what, that's just yap. Oh, we made this amazing. Like, it does look good. The main point is, which I actually saw, which I believe makes the game easier to play, well, not the light tank changes yet, the VFX still please, is the fact that if you shoot, you will have the fumes coming from your gun, like with this T-803 here, he shot. You can see them for quite some time, maybe a little bit too long, but it's a really good visual indicator if you didn't pay attention if the enemy just shot or not. That's actually a helpful change. That's actually a helpful change. In any case, what is also a helpful change might be the light tank changes.
As could our significant update of a whole vehicle type. Light tanks will be redistributed across 3 combat roles.
I actually really like this idea, because now we have support light tanks. We have the versatile light tank, the support ones being the damage dealer with the Sheridan and the Tessac line. The versatile with the, how should we say it, the Master of None, and I forgot the name of the saying, so let me know in the comment section below. And the scout light tanks, which are the EBR line, the T110 LT line, and the Manticore line. And obviously the Even 90. I really like that, because that's one of the biggest gripes I had while free marking the Tessac. Like, Jesus Christ, you get Prokhorovka or Malinovka, and what do you have to fight? It's a Manticore. Or when you like to play light tanks on tier 8. Good luck against the Even 90, which is just camping bush.
Scout, support, and versatile tanks. To support the changes, many vehicles' characteristics will receive targeted tweak.
I find it actually crazy. They literally tell us they changed the Borkenkiffer's HE. Why? That's this gimmick. Why do you nerf it? Like, I get the gun loading, because these tanks tend to be rather strong, but it's also like they are now buffing its damage. Why exactly? I do like they're buffing the HP, that's a pretty decent change, but why exactly the damage? Because we now have light tanks which are behaving almost identical to medium tanks with just better camo. Are we back in the circle of this type of meta?
And field modification will be fine-tuned.
That sounds good to me.
This will let light tanks play their roles to the fullest without compromising the philosophy of each individual vehicle.
And that is very important. And this goes hand in hand with the next change, which is also very important, aka matchmaking changes. Which is here.
The matchmaker will account for these changes. and consider the new roles as it aims to select the most symmetrical teams possible. It will also strictly limit the number of light tanks in a match to no more than 2 per team.
That is actually great. On one hand, sometimes I wished I had more than just, or not just 2 lights, but 3. Because sometimes it tends to be a dice roll, especially in open maps. But the amount of times where I wished I had 3 light tanks versus the amount of times I wished I didn't have 3 light tanks, aka just 2. Yeah, the 2 wins out quite a lot. So that's a really, really good change.
Starting from battles at tier 7. Wheeled tanks, while they have been allocated the scout role, are still limited to 1 per team and matched against each other as before.
So light wheel tanks always against each other, which is also a good change. Or, well, not a good change, but a good continuation of not changing that at least.
The changes will mean higher quality battles, not only for light tanks, but also for other vehicle types. We'll also start testing a new system designed to reduce the number of times the same maps appear.
Please, please, let's hope it works.
This will bring more variety to every gaming session.
Let's hope that, because Daddy Wargaming, holy moly, it is actually so annoying having always like just 6 cards during your grind sessions. Like, wow. Anyway, we also have a new line, which is German.
Update 2.4 will bring 10 new vehicles. And chief among them is a German heavy tank line, topped by the Panzerkampfwagen Neu. These are dynamic, excellently armored, versatile vehicles, whose main power is utilizing the terrain.
Wow, guys, it's the big 2026 and we get a new hold-down heavy line. Guys, nah, it's insane. Like, best game ever. Wargaming reinvented the wheel. We finally have hold-down heavies in a big 2026. I do understand and hope that my sarcasm was available to you guys to notice that, wow, it's a hold-down heavy line. Fantastic. It's actually very close to what the Panzerkampfwagen 70 was. What was it called? The 07? No, not, I don't know. The one from the assembly shop, which we had now for quite some time.
They share the unique shell calibration system. It allows them to adapt more precisely to a selected target.
I don't know if this actually happens on the tier 11 because we can't test the tier 11 on the common test at the moment, but the tier 10 does not have that feature.
And quickly recalibrate shell,
well, the feature of, you know, movable gun parts.
Parameters to destroy opponents more effectively. And that's only the beginning. The Neu is just one of 6 new tier 11 vehicles.
So I was like, you know what? That sounds interesting, even though it also kind of sounds fake. Then again, there are also actually in real life ways a 30mm can be calibrated to explode at certain points. So yeah, first things first, this tank line starts off from the Tiger 1, then goes to the Panzer 55, then to the Versuchspanzer 57, then to the Kampfpanzer 67, and the Kampfpanzer or the Panzerkampfwagen Neu. Like, one point I want to make is, really? A borderline fake tech line new, while console gets actual Swiss tanks? Godverdomme. In any case, here I am having the stats of the tier 10 because these are the ones which are available. Tier 11 are not available. 10 degrees of gun depression, 420 alpha, and the shell calibration thingy. You need 1.5 seconds to switch between each mode, and more or less this tank has 5 different shell types. It picks up on the idea that premium shells should have less damage, technically speaking. But this one has APCR as standard rounds. Then it has APCR with 40 damage less, but it has better normalization and better ricochet angles. Then it has heat, which has its standard rounds, 330 pen, 420 damage, and you can calibrate it to have better, how should I say, pen retention when you hit side skirts, for example. But you lose 40 damage. So yeah, it kind of picks up on the idea that premium rounds, when they're better, should do less damage. But this is now just entirely mechanics, so I assume this idea is completely out of the window. Also, the funny thing is, this is the name of the Tier 11's gun. And I'm gonna say it once and only once. 120 mm Glattrohr Panzerkanone Muster 70 mit Zusatzkammern, Mündungsgeschwindigkeits Messbasis und Zünderstellgerät. You're welcome. So, I thought, the mechanic might be a little bit uneventful, well, not uneventful, but a little bit hard to understand just from that video. So jump down to the common test and then tried it out. Here I already loaded heat rounds, and you can see that even during the loading time, I can just calibrate left, right, and center, it doesn't matter. And it's fairly interesting. You need to get used to knowing what means what, but you can see that in this, in this sign, if it's on the right side, it's the lower pen, and if it's on the left, lower damage, and on the left side, it's the higher damage version. And you can also see that the picture kind of changes. Now it showcases 2 layers of armor, which is penetrating. So in the case of heat, it's better against spaced armor. And now you can see that it's better against straight armor, or like just does more damage. And you can also just change it to your APCR. Because I also played this game, we had the opportunity to fight some people. And here, luckily, everybody else was already dead, so we are now fighting a bot, as far as I'm aware, yeah. We already grinded down the HP of the other people, and now you can see the bot is showcasing us his side armor. And thanks to the flashlight, you can see that right now it is red, because up here is spaced armor, right? We change now to the better spaced armor position, and you can see that suddenly this part up here became green. The tracks itself are still red, and I'm bad at aiming, don't ask. But you can see now it's much greener, and if we go back to the normal mode, we can still do it while reloading. You can see that part of it became orange. So yeah, this is how you more or less use this ammo type. Although I have to say, I'm not entirely sure if you really will be using that gimmick that much. Because against very highly angled armor plates, you're using heat, like against the Stridswagens, for example. And against vehicles which have spaced armor, you'll use your standard route, which is APCR anyway. So I see very, very limited, how should I say, usage in that mechanic. In any case, we also have other tier 11s. Let's continue with the VZ63P.
The Czechoslovakian VZ63P heavy tank. Good dynamics, comfortable gun depression, a strong turret, and a 2-shell autoloader where the second shot is always more dangerous than the first.
So basically what Wargaming just told us is it's a 2026 vehicle. Good mobility, good armor, strong turret, good gun depression, wowee. It also told us just that this is now how Wargaming wants you to play the VZ55 line. Use the double shot. Even though they buffed the single shot gun to be actually better than the double shot, but use the double shot basically.
Depression, and a 2-shell autoloader where the second shot is always more dangerous than the first. The mechanism is simple. If you penetrate, the second shell gets increased average damage. If you don't penetrate, or the shot ricochets, the second shell flies with higher pen.
I have to say, this is such a boring mechanic. Like, wowee. Did you really not have any other ideas? Plus the VZ63 looks just plain. It's like a rounded IS-7 hull with a slightly more sleeker IS-7 turret. Like, man, that thing looks boring. I'm sorry, my Czech viewers. And I hope, I will be interesting to see, or hear rather, what Marty thinks about the VZ63P. On the other hand, now we have the WZ-219, which kind of looks completely broken with its gimmick.
The Chinese WZ-219 light tank performs all the usual tasks for its type, but with one notable difference.
For players which played Leicester, you might notice this.
Its mechanic lets it detect the presence of hidden opponents in a selected direction and significantly increase the chances of spotting them.
I heard you like CVS, so I put a CVS on your CVS type of tank.
However, this mechanic works both ways. When it spots an opponent in its scan sector, the WZ-219 also reveals itself. Detecting enemies and escaping fire unscathed.
By the way, this is maddening. Like, imagine the WZ and the Borkenkäfer are not in the same class of light tanks, and you get this light tank on something like Brocco or Mali, and they get the Borkenkäfer. So now you have a light tank which, yes, if it spots somebody with its gimmick, it also gets spotted, but you saw it looks amazingly cool, by the way, and it's flat as fuck, and it's also probably fast. So suddenly I have a tank which is insanely good at active scouting. Like, literally, this thing on Prokhorovka can just skim the middle and then spot so many campers with this mechanic. It's crazy, I believe. Because you get a CVS on a CVS. And it doesn't matter if you get spotted or not, you can just dip back into cover.
Is a real challenge. High stakes, big reward.
Nah, it's not a massive challenge. I believe that's an insanely strong mechanic. You just need to be up on your toes. Because it can peek wherever you want, right? And if you just get... And you know, if you spot somebody, you have to run because you just used your gimmick which spots you as well. I guess that's how they try to balance it. But I don't know, man. That sounds crazy. Anyway, now we have the Shugo.
The Japanese Shugo tank destroyer. A solid cabin, impressive alpha, and some of the highest penetration in the game.
I'm concerned about that because the Hori 3 already has insane AP pen, which gives it basically on par like 400mm of APCR pen. And if this thing has even better pen, that's going to eat things like the Taschenratte alive.
And on top, it fires missiles, unguided and highly explosive.
Did you see that? Not only is it slow as fuck, but it does 700 damage. I will be interested to see A, how accurate is it? Is it based on accuracy? B, how much damage it does against things which are armored? And C, why did it not move? Like, obviously it wants to showcase, oh look, it says rocket. But goddamn, bro. Like, this was so slow, you can just dodge that easily. I actually have to say, when it comes to gimmicks, I like this implementation really well because it just supplements the tank, like the Taschenratte's double gun. The double gun barely does any damage in most situations. It's just kind of there as an additional damage output, for especially against lightly armored vehicles. So this one is the same. So I feel like this is a really, really good mechanic. The next one, though, the CAF 71. When I first read this stuff on the test server right today, I was like, bro, what is going on? What does it want from me? But the main gimmick is, and I'll show you first, then I can explain it.
The Italian CAV-71 medium tank.
By the way, genuinely, this turret looks like a bunt cannon, but squished, and you drank too much grappa, and you're completely drunk.
Continues the auto-reloader line. At the push of a button, its shell reloading time instantly reduces to a short fixed duration. In any situation, when to accelerate the...
So basically, that is actually really cool. Wargaming thought about, okay lads, our auto-reloaders have the issue that if you used all your rounds and you're still in engagement, you're kind of screwed. Which is kind of fair because it kind of balances them out. But now you have, it looks like up to 3 charges you can use at any point, and it basically gives you the reload of the fully loaded clip. I like that idea actually. That's a really good idea because it doesn't give you immediate DPM because you still have to reload, but it gives you your normal DPM for up so many rounds you want it to have, aka or how many, what's it called, charges you have. That's a really, 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 really cool idea. And the thing is, that's why I go back into this right here. These additional charges only replenish over time, and especially faster when the clip is full. So it takes a slow time to load them back up, but you get rewarded when you have a full clip anyway. So that is an actually really, really interesting, how should I say, value proposition. So you have 4 rounds, you probably do like, what, 2,000 damage with it? No, not 2,000. 1,600 damage with it. And then you can go back to your normal DPM for like 3 rounds. That's actually a pretty decent and interesting way of making this mechanic. Not gonna lie. So well done to Wargaming.
Reload is up to you.
It still looks ugly as fuck. And then we have the BV-111, which looks amazing.
The Swedish BV-111 medium tank. Has impressive gun depression thanks to hydropneumatic suspension, Plus, it boasts strong, bouncy armor, and an alternative combat mode. It lets you load shells with increased alpha from an external ammo rack. The standard mode is for typical play. The alternate one is for when you don't need DPM, but high damage per shot.
You know, that's actually one way you can talk about the main issues with the current meta. And there's two things I want to quickly talk about the BV. That's why we analyze this stuff and react to it. Digga, it has a 30mm gun on the side of the turret. How was that not the mechanic? Like, bro, it would be so cool, but no, now it's just like, cook, I'm teasing you. You can't use me. And on the other hand, obviously these vehicles have, how do I say, base stats holder stats. In the upgrades, however, we can check that, for example, the biggest upgrade gives you reduced reload penalty in this EAF mode. Also, you get more damage for standard shells. You get more damage for special shells. And you get higher top speed. So it looks like you lose reload, but you gain alpha. How much alpha we don't know yet, because that's what they're hiding here. But you also lose top speed, which is kind of interesting in my opinion. So it could be an interesting way of introducing this tank. I'm still just sad that they're not using the 30mm. Like, come on, Wargaming, that would have been so cool. In any case, there's also a new branch of missions with the Fossa.
The Sector 3 story continues. Update 2.4 introduces an additional operation in the third personal missions campaign.
I actually really do like that Wargaming is doing such ways of introducing these missions. Like, I really like this. That's like, this is additional work they theoretically don't need to do, but it's just fun. You know, it's a little bit of, how should I say, storytelling, environmental storytelling, storytelling in general, why we do it. I like that.
You can start it straight away without having completed the previous ones.
I like that idea, but then again, you're much better off getting the Blackrock and the Dravik first, because the Fossa is literally just like a German Concept 5 with worse alpha.
But don't expect to walk in the park. Even if you made it through the third personal missions campaign, the new missions will test your skills to their limits. It's a serious challenge and a tough trial for.
And these videos from RagingRaptor will be incredibly long because you have 21 missions each for each tree, but it's only one vehicle. And as far as I'm aware, the first couple of missions you need to do them 3 times, then twice, and then only once. That's crazy long.
Aces. The main reward is the Fossa VM68, the first tier 10 German wheeled medium tank. Its surprising dynamics and sniper gun make it perfect for flanking and quickly switching positions. And for completing the operation with honors, you can claim a unique 3D style that will make you the center of attention from the first seconds of battle.
I swear, Wargaming, if this feature right here is not in the game, I will be rioting. It has pop-up lights, bro! Like this late 90s, early or late 80s sports car. That's fucking awesome, like, genuinely. And I have to be honest, it's probably a better feature than, this weird-ass gimmick right here.
Now, at the start of each battle, 3 players in your team will be showcased. If you make the cut...
Look, I guess it also depends if you bought for 7,000 gold a reskin of a dog.
It means you boast outstanding combat credentials, you're enjoying an excellent game session, or your vehicle has amazing customization. Or maybe...
Yo, Captain Dido spotted, and Captain Jack Tower. No, just kidding. The good thing is, I read in the patch notes that you can just skip it by escape, because, like, genuinely speaking, you should do this at the end of the game. Like, you should do this at the end of the game. Like, who was the best player, right? Why does it need to be at the beginning? Why is it tied to your customization? I guess how much money you paid. Like, why? That's so stupid, because in those 20 seconds, I want to see where I'm positioned and which side of the map I am, so I can think about, okay, where do I go with this tank? I've played so many different vehicles, and I'm so out of it because I'm not playing daily anymore, that I need to actually use my brain, and that is a hard thing to do for somebody like me, because I'm a World of Tanks player, right? So, I don't know, this generally, this feature, sure, it looks flashy, but holy moly, wasted resources, in my honest opinion. Like, why?
Now,
Just skip it. What isn't wasted resources and interesting is the new Onslaught season.
the new Onslaught season also stands out. 4 familiar maps will be plunged into darkness. The changes affect not only the look of the locations, but the gameplay conditions too. Spotting vehicles here is much harder.
So apparently your spawning range will be lowered to 315 meters, and your the range you can see somebody which is spotted will only be 445, which usually is around 570, 565, I think. That is a crazy change.
To detect enemies effectively, you can use the new point of interest to launch a signal flare. It illuminates the terrain perfectly. Track down enemies, win, and strive for the new annual reward, the Fireborn.
Why is it BZ-75? It's such a trash vehicle, bro. Yes, skill issue on my side, but why? But I like this idea. I really do like it because, hey, if it actually works and it's really nice, we might actually see this more in normal games, maybe. It's cool that Wargaming tries to experiment with Onslaught. Really do. In any case, finally, we have the comeback thingy. So, technically speaking, if you have never logged in anymore in the last 60 days, if you want to help a homie out, you can use my code WOTWB57 RAG. And that's what you will get.
If you haven't battled in over 60 days,
Logged in, not battled, logged in.
A whole heap of goodies. Tier 8 and 9 rental premium tanks.
Rental important.
XP missions, 2D styles, a whole month of World of Tanks premium account, and non-expirable personal reserve.
And that's everything. Yeah, I don't know. It's a long video. Wargaming said it's the biggest update of 2026 so far, and I agree. It's a lot of shit, like a new tech tree, a new vehicle, tier 11s, new changes, quite a lot of rebalancing. I like that it's that big, but that took a long time. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm sorry it was that long. Usually I try to make it shorter, but I feel like I wanted to give my honest opinion on every single thing which we saw, so I can focus on the actual new stuff when it comes out and we can play it. My name is RagingRaptor. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I see you in the next video. Cheers, lads.